My name's Olivia Garrison. I work for ESPN. I am a social media specialist and I live in New York City. Before I started on our social team, I started at ESPN in 2019 as a production assistant. And then I moved on to be a content associate, and now I'm on the social team. So I've had a lot of different experiences and roles within the company. But I'm super happy here, and New York's just been a dream. I graduated Clemson in 2018. I was a sports communication major, and I also did a ton of internships with local news stations, and the Clemson Insider specifically was one place that I got a ton of experience in. So I would say my hands-on experience in the sports industry, where I was learning about reporting and writing and social media, all came from my internships that I did on campus and obviously through all of the different classes that I took at Clemson. When I was coming out of my senior year, I was deciding between reporting and social media. I knew I had an interest in both, and I ended up landing a job with the NCAA. I did digital strategy and social media management as well as reporting. So it was a really cool role for me to still explore what I wanted to do. I just didn't know yet. So I got to get reps on both sides at the NCAA. So that was a really great experience. That was my first transition out of college into the sports industry. And then I worked there for about a year, and then I transitioned over to ESPN after that. As a social media specialist, we power all of our ESPN accounts. So that runs across a lot of different platforms: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. We also work with our Snapchat team. My job specifically is I oversee show content and strategy as well as talent strategy. I run our First Take and Get Up accounts in the morning. So I work on the morning shows. And what that looks like is basically creating content from those shows to go onto our platforms. And then on the other side of it is talent strategy. So I work with all of the talent at ESPN. I help power their own personal social media accounts, as well as coming up with strategies on how to do that. A lot of them have social media managers. So a lot of it looks like communications with them, PR, marketing for events, games, all kind of stuff. Our broader social group is are the people that are running SportsCenter Instagram, ESPN TikTok is probably the platforms that most people will recognize us by. That can be in-game highlights. It can be breaking news. It can just be things happening around the sports world, things happening, in pop culture, how they kind of fit into our world, covering all those kind of different things that are happening in the industry, and then figuring out ways to optimize it for social media. We're really leaning into TikTok right now. TikTok is blowing up. We have become the most recognized brand on that platform. So we run that platform every single day. There are hundreds of posts going out on that platform every day. It's crazy. But yeah, we do a lot of different things. I touch a lot of different things, and that's the really cool part about our team is we can have a silo of what we work in. So I work with shows and talent, but also I have an opportunity to post to the TikTok account or SportsCenter Instagram. We cover women's sports, we cover boxing, we cover college football, NFL, NBA, any sport you can think of, any story happening around sports, we cover. And it's really cool that we can all kind of pitch in for each different thing. I would say TikTok is the biggest one. There's all kinds of trends and algorithm changes that come out every single day. So a lot of our job is keeping up with how the algorithm is working every day, the trends that are happening throughout TikTok. We do a lot of our trends with our talent, which has been really fun, and athletes and celebrities that we're able to interview and talk with at games and in New York specifically, I work in Seaport for First Take. And so we have a lot of big names that come through our office. So I'm able to interview them and do like fun TikTok trends with them, more of like the fun side of interviewing as opposed to the sports side, which is also a really cool thing that we get to do because a lot of people are interested in those things and not just the X's and O's of sports, but showcasing the personalities of our athletes, of our talent, of our company has been really cool. And then I would also say AI is obviously a big thing, a big shift that is happening in the world right now, and especially in sports. So the way we see that kind of fitting in is through our technology that we use to cut clips from shows, how we cut games. We have different programs of games in our system, and AI kind of helps us track everything that's going on, um, animate it, all kinds of stuff. It's obviously something that's going to continue to grow and evolve as we move forward. But that's something that we're definitely keeping an eye out on as well as everyone else. In the beginning, when I was first coming out of college, being like the baby, I think everyone can struggle with confidence and just being assertive in meetings, being creative. All of those things grow as you grow in your careers. So I would say that ideation, just feeling like I have a voice. And it wasn't by anyone else. It was just my own insecurities shining when I first got into the industry, which is probably also had to do with me being a woman in sports. And I didn't really know how that would fit into the larger scheme of the industry outside of college. So just, I guess, finding my voice, finding out who I was and what I wanted to do and what I had to offer was a challenge, but I think that a lot of people find when they move on from college into the professional industry that that is the case for most positions. So, if you are going through that right now, it's a process and you will find your way. And I think one of the biggest things that helped me was finding mentors in my company or whatever position I was in to help me along the way, people who have been through those kind of things before was just really awesome to have that advice and just a soundboard for what I was going through. I've had a lot of specific mistakes that I've made, and I'm laughing right now because in the moment they always feel so big, and I always just look at them as learning opportunities, and not to take myself so seriously. I do have a couple specific ones, but I think it's just the small things, like maybe putting the wrong picture on a graphic or spelling something incorrectly. Those little things are like just attention to detail, and being really buttoned up and those kind of things. So now when I'm posting content, I'm triple checking, quadruple checking, whatever it is. We also have a process of we have to get multiple people to sign off on our posts. So we check for, what copy looks like, if there's misspellings, pictures, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of different nuances that go into it. But those are the ones that stick out to me, like the small things that you just have to pay attention to that detail. I took a social media listening class in college, which was really great. It was with Katie McElveen. She was a great mentor for me in college, but that class kind of taught me to look at social media listening and analytics differently, which is crazy because I didn't think it would play such a big role in my life now. But analytics and keeping up with numbers is something that I do every single day. So that ended up coming in handy for sure. I think just our regular communication classes, public speaking classes. I run a lot of meetings. I have to communicate with a lot of different stakeholders at our company, whether that's talent or producers, my manager, my team, executives. There's a lot of different people that we're communicating with. So I think public speaking was I remember that class just being so hard for me at the time, but it pays off in the end when you're like having to do it in real life. Those were a couple things in school that were great. And then I did a lot of sports internships. I worked with our basketball team, which was awesome. I got to kind of see how a team works. I helped manage different projects, administrative type things, help scheduling and social media. And then on the other side, I did local news and writing and reporting. So that tangible experience was really, really important for me. I think that obviously there's a technical side of skills that we have to learn. Oh, I'll also say I took a Adobe class in college, which also was great because I use Adobe every day here at ESPN. So I would say the technical side of learning how to use Premiere Pro or Photoshop or Lightroom, After Effects even, are all things that I use every day. So just learning how to use the programs, but also how to cut videos together for a TikTok to make it interesting, I guess. And then I would say soft skills like being able to communicate clearly and concisely. Being a leader, I think, is a really undervalued skill and something that we always look out for in our company. We're trying to grow the next batch of leaders. So people who take initiative, people who are kind, people who work well in a team, and then, people who do good work. Networking has been a big part of my life. That started in college. I was really hungry to grow and I had a vision for what I wanted. I found that it was hard in the beginning of my career to express that when I had different positions because it felt like I was not appreciative of where I was. But I have found that transparency and just really having a vision for yourself is really helpful when you're trying to build those relationships and people that can help you, coming to them with, hey, I have this vision and I'm not really sure how to get there, but this is what I want. Being really vocal about those things, I think was really important for me. And just being bold and confident and reaching out to people. If you're in person at a game, going up to whoever it is, um, and introducing yourself. Like it doesn't have to be a long conversation, but just getting your name out there, asking if they are interested in talking. I have found that people in the sports industry are really willing to help. It's a hard industry to be in sometimes, and I think we're all in this together, and we know like the beginnings of what that looks like. Um, Starting in the sports industry and growing can be hard. So I think everyone's kind of willing to give back. I know I am. So just being confident and bold, and trusting people and just being able to say, this is what I want, and asking how they can help you. I think also too, it's really important to offer to help them too. So it's not like we're just taking, but we're also giving. I think that was super important early on in my career. I would also say maintaining those relationships over time is really important too. Because there's so much going on in our jobs, a lot of us can forget things. So just making sure that people remember you, people remember your name, and also just sending them clips of, if you're wanting to be a reporter, sending people your reels so you can get feedback. If you want to be in social media, sending them content strategy plans that you came up with. Tangible examples for people to give you feedback on is important too. It is a constant learning process. I I used to be married to my job, and I found that I wasn't doing a lot outside of it, and I my mental health did not benefit from that. So I've had to work in practices of self-care, making time for things that I love outside of work. And I love my job, but we all need that. We all need that break and that relaxation. So whether that's scheduling my workouts right after work and making sure that I'm doing that every week. I'm spending time outside, I'm spending time away from social media has been huge for me, but very difficult because I work in social media and it's hard to unplug when you're in it all day and you're posting 20 times a day. Um, you kind of just get caught up in it. So I schedule in time to my schedule where I turn my phone off. And that has actually come in the past year of my life. And I'm 28 now. I've never done that before. I've always just been kind of locked into it. But I found that it brings me a lot of peace and I'm able to come back to my job and be better because I took that little break. So it's different for everyone. But for me, it looks like scheduling in that time for things that I love to do and unplugging when I can. My experience being a woman in sports has been really good overall. Um, it comes with its challenges and learning as you go, but I would say overall, I have loved my experience as a woman in sports and find that we're growing towards more women being in sports as the years progressed. So when I first came in, it wasn't as many women. I was still trying to find my voice, and I did find it, and I'm really grateful for that. And I'm really grateful to be a woman who is respected um, as a hard worker and who does good work in a male-dominated industry that can be daunting sometimes. Um, Finding that confidence and growing with other women alongside me has been just the one of the most special things if I sit back and think about it, the impact that we can have on this space. And being a woman working in sports, we also reflect on the legacies of women athletes who have also paved the way for us to do what we do. So I think we're all in it together. There can be hard days, but all the good days outweigh the hard days, and it's an honor and it's a blessing, and I'm happy that I get to be in this space and hopefully get to make an impact in people's lives. I would say my biggest thing that I've learned and what I tell people is to do it scared. And I think I've had to do that, I think, in almost every single job that I've had, where I'm moving to a new city and I'm starting a new job and I don't have friends there and I don't really know what I'm doing in the job. I've felt scared of those opportunities, at the same time excited, but that's something that I lived by for years now is just doing it scared. And I think doing that is like there's always blessings on the other side. And if not, there's learning opportunities and you learn more about yourself, what you want to do, what you don't want to do, what you value in a company, and what you value in your teammates and managers and all that kind of stuff. Doing it scared, I think, is one of the most important things that we can do because it teaches us about ourselves.
Learn more about our alumni, students, faculty, and staff and their wonderful endeavors by following us online.